In this video, I'm going to show how you do the steps in the change or add a button assignment. But before I begin, I want to point out that in the process of doing this, you'll also be working with a function in JavaScript. So you will learn a little bit about functions in the process of changing a button on this web page. So we will begin by opening our WackyWall HTML file in Notepad++, and we'll scroll down here to where all the button tags are. And if you'll recall from the graphics assignment, you were supposed to make a new paint can graphic. In the demo video, I created one called cyan.png, so that's what we're going to use here in this demonstration. We're going to change one of the buttons, and I'm going to pick the navy button and change it to cyan. So now the image used for this button will no longer be the navy.png file, but the cyan.png file. So we'll save it with Control S and then run it in Chrome. And we see where the paint can with the navy colored paint in it has been replaced by the one with the cyan colored paint in it. But when we click on this, we still get the navy color. This change that we're making has kind of a ripple effect or a domino effect where we'll need to change a couple of other things in our code to make it work consistently. So let's go back to the document in Notepad++ and point out that when you click on this button, the onClick handler calls the paint navy function. Well, what we need is a paint cyan function. So let's go up here to where the functions are written, and we can pick actually any of these functions for this, but I'm going to pick the paint navy one just to be consistent. And it's as simple as highlighting all of the code. So from function, where the function is declared, including everything inside the curly braces. So highlight that and copy it with a Control-C. And then just insert a new line and Control-V to paste the code. So now we have two copies of the paint navy function, but we're going to fix that and change it to paint cyan. And the only thing that's really specific to any of these functions that makes them do anything differently from each other is the code that's used here when it says to set the background color. Every one of them has a different hex code. So what we need to do in our paint cyan function is change the code to be the code for cyan, which is 00FFFF. Now let's save it and go back to our web page and refresh it. So now we're back to the initial state. Here's our cyan bucket. We click on it. It's still painting with the navy color. Well, there's one more change we need to make. Let's go back down, back into Notepad++ and go back down to where we put the cyan.png as the image for this button, and the button is still coded to call the paint navy function. So let's change that so that it calls the paint cyan function. Save it again, go back to the web page and refresh it. Back to the initial state now on the web page. Click the cyan, and now we get a canvas with the background color of cyan. And that completes the demonstration for how you change the code to put a new button into our web page.